Hope you all will pardon me for a few moments here. I have to get some stuff sorted, and I want to get me some tea as well. I believe we have some nerds in the Discord already. I do at some point in time want to devise a kind of like an intermission or AFK screen or something like that too. So it's a little bit more dynamic than the two screens or scene selections that I have right now. Plus refine the intro and do some cool stuff with it. So there are definitely nerds in Discord. Yeah, I'm hoping we get to have a little bit of fun tonight. Probably won't be like too crazy, but yeah, it should be fun for me at least, as like my sadistic side comes out as a DM. But let me go check on my tea. I'm gonna make sure that I have proper fluids, pants grab, and then yeah, I'll hop on Discord and we'll get started. So give me a few minutes and I'll be right back. I am back with tea. But I can't do that blurb tonight. It's not just a regular gaming stream. This is serious stuff, damn it. Okay? What is happening? Stuff is happening. Stuff is happening. You know what? Let's leave this as suspenseful as possible right now. Hold on. Let me make sure my frames kind of moderate. Your good Christian stream? I don't know about that. I don't know about that. We have some a prime gamer in our midst. My God. That's pretty holy, if I say so myself. Holy. Jesus, hold on. I have to mute my mic and cough. God, I have one thing that sets me off, and it's a milkshake. Actually, it was a malt, technically. And because my allergies are so screwed right now, I'm just like, ugh. It didn't bring all the boys to the yard. Oh, it's hot. You have a Poe Resent for me and V Rising? Sweet. It is, well, welcome to my world. I can make my cool pistols? Hell yeah. And my cool axe? Hell yeah. Alright, fuck this game. I'm just gonna log. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Rin ruined tonight's game. Rin ruined it. Sorry, everyone. Go home. That's it. Sorry, not sorry. Still haven't unlocked axes? No. The ones that could be repaired, Winged. Remember? I think you found them. I think I have them on my person, as well as the one of the cannons. Nope. It's just as long as you could repair them, they're good. I didn't think so. I think these were just, hey, you repair them. It's not a recipe or anything like that. Yep, nope. All right, fuck it. Whatever. We'll find it out. We'll find out. Whatever. It's fine. Oh, once you stick it in the forge, it's good? Stick it in the forge. All right, I've got to be serious. This is serious RP stuff. It's a recipe for when you put it in the forge. Okay. I want it. You need radium and gems. Paul. Hold on. No. Where was that from? Holy shit. That was from a Dark Souls mod or something. I can't remember specifically where fuck Paul is from, but it is from some kind of Dark Souls mod, and then we just added it because a lot of those are Dark Souls era Nightbot responses. But yeah, fuck Paul. fuck Paul. All right, your roommate is Paul. All right, well, fuck Paul then. Fuck him. All right. So much for the intro of this session. That's already screwed. Sorry, I'm just taking a moment to chill, and I promise I'll hop into the voice Discord. I got in literally 10 minutes before starting stream, like panic, trying to make sure some other things in the background were running properly. Nothing too crazy, but it's just, you know, if I'm not running off of pure adrenaline and anxiety, then I guess I'm not doing my fucking job. Let me pull up stuff. As if I have like this masterfully concocted everything. Let me just set up all my knobs and dials. ADHD life, yeah. Well, it's more or less like I was at a get together to say goodbye to a friend that's been around for a little bit in this area, and she's going off to visit her sister in Texas and do some youngin' shit for a while. So knob and dial these nuts. So we were just chilling with her for a little bit. Me and mutual friends. And now she is gone. She is gone. Okay, I'm gonna hop in the dick sword I hope everyone's having a good night so far. I'm glad tomorrow is Sunday and I just get to relax for a little bit. But I probably will be doing a variety of things. Anyway, hopping into the voice channel. Fuck it.
So excited.
Oh, jeez.
I've been reading that text RP. Oh, super excited.
You have you?
Super interested.
Hey, I welcome the chaos, okay?
It's gonna be really fun.
Like,
It was her.
it's funny because like the other group, their big issue was like the fight. Us, we had a big heckin' concern about the fight, but like once we got into it, like we just bodied them. So our big issue right now is the RP situation.
Oh dear.
Oh dear. All the fallout from us checking off bucket list items instead of doing our paperwork.
Well, I mean, I guess we're gonna find out what happens. I mean,
Apparently so.
money's being spent, and well, you know, there's just some auditing that needs to happen.
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, I'm sure that's fine. I'm sure we've all kept our
We
receipt.
haven't done anything illegal.
Nothing untoward.
Just some accounting stuff. That's fine.
Wait, are you doing tax evasion? What the fuck is going on?
I'm not doing tax evasion. I'm just, forgetting to do my paperwork.
So, real quick,
It's not tax evasion if we get the paperwork in on time.
if we take a look briefly, I don't know if you have, at the stream title, you will recognize it pretty much shapes what we're gonna be doing today.
Oh boy.
I saw the title.
So, obviously last session, you all fought a pretty good fight to recover some much needed supplies. That way, Lore can continue his work and become a spearhead in the campaign to essentially try to make newer firearms from shard locks, or at least more improved shard locks.
The next generation of firearm technologies. Stoneborn many works leads the way.
And while you did have basically a prisoner from that particular occurrence, Stinky's just keeping them captive for the moment. So Lore, pardon me, Artemy hasn't been down to necessarily help interrogate if need be. However, there was a little bit of an exchange between Nami and Dhakiir at the noble house, essentially, that went down where, to give a little bit of a background for the in-between, Nami said that she's been having a hard time trying to keep things together for the house, and that she's been needing a lot of help recently. It wasn't something that she could keep together, and she couldn't stall her, capital HER, from showing up any longer. So she is coming for a visit. So we're gonna change things up just a little bit, and at the moment, I would actually like Serpent or Dhakiir to kind of read your last little post in your own house.
Okay. It was early in the morning when Dhakiir, eyes a bit red from a lack of sleep, walked into Nami's office and put a sealed letter on her desk. He stifled a yawn as she looked up at him. Here, it is a request for more staff, signed and sealed with my mark. I am sorry I did not submit it sooner. Please trust I will be willing to do so. I do not know how much time there is before her arrival. If there is time, there are things we should talk about. I wish I had realized things had gotten so far. I'm going to need your help, Nami. And he nods and turns and leaves to go upstairs.
It's about that time that Lore, you're kind of wrapping up some beginning shenanigans at the many works, making sure all the unseen servants and whatnot are doing the things that they're supposed to be doing. And you've kind of put some preliminary work into looking into the like the supplies that you got, understanding that obviously the crystals that are there are much better quality than what you're used to, much more potent, and looks like they could be used in a lot more efficient manner. You just have to kind of figure out how they can be contained properly without causing a huge ass explosion in the wielder's hand. And I would say with that, you probably have Artemy in his like daily due diligence coming around to your shop to kind of pick you up, so you can go in with him to check in on Dhakiir, as basically you're starting off your another morning and wrapping up whatever things that you need to do at that point in time.
Okay, so Lore's probably got his hand over his face, rubbing it as he looks at yet another quickly scrawled schematic for not only shell casings but gun frames in different types, figuring out what the first special in the line is going to be. And I guess that's how the scene will start whenever.
It's probably just like a knock on his study or whatever.
So this time when you knock, the door opens by itself, or at least it seems to, but you're greeted by what looks like a sort of 16-bit poly version of Lore.
Lore.png.
Yeah, it's like lore.png. It doesn't speak, and it doesn't seem to do anything other than point you towards the study, which is past the warehouse of things.
Yes, Lore Prime, please. Thank you.
So it leads you towards Lore Prime. And I guess I'm going to get shoved by one of the other lore.pngs.
Yeah, as you're like leaning over and doing like at your study, basically trying to figure out, you know, all this new mechanical materials that you're going to be having at your disposal. You have one of your other like I would say like almost like a 2-frame walk animation. One of your other lores comes up and it's and it just like taps you 2-frame wise, you know, it's like hands up and then it just like stab pokes you.
Oh, what? Oh, Artemy! I should see you here. I gotta get up from my desk.
Interesting new help you've acquired?
Oh, yes. I finally got the crystal array settled. They're a little bit stilted. They don't talk yet. But there's 7 of them. And I think they all have their own personality. Don't think on it yet. I'm not sure. It's, the crystal's a lot stronger than I thought. Anyway, let's go ahead and, see how Dhakiir's doing. I'm sure he wants to see how everything's settled up after last night.
There's something I want to run by you two as well.
Ooh. I take a circle in my chair, and when I come back around, I have glasses and a notepad.
Ooh.
And I'm waiting.
Not necessarily work-related, but it involves a mutual acquaintance.
Ooh. And then I take the circle back around and I put my notepad and glasses away.
We'll talk when we get there, but...
Okay. And,
the letter you received was from... It's RK, correct?
That was my understanding, yes.
Something about his involvement makes me have a wonder.
Hmm. What sort of wonder?
Well, I've been going over the events of the past few days. It's over and over in my head. And I'm not satisfied, I'll put it that way. But we'll talk more when Dhakiir's present.
Understandable. Well, then let's I hop down from my seat. Let's hop to it. And I wave at lore.png1 and it waves to us.
Probably like just lazily loft the hands like I don't
Well, like some of you
Bye question mark.
yeah, it's like two of them.
Sentient.
Two of them just have the hand up. One of them has it like you see it start to do its 2 frames like of waving sequence, and then it starts to vibrate violently, and then it just clicks back into place solid. So it's like
incredible. It's trying so hard.
And then most of them just kind of line up and like just hold their hand up as if it's like a hail or a goodbye type scenario. And
I'm sure they'll get there.
They're learning.
Adapting.
Now I'm gonna leave the shop to you. Don't do anything I would do. And then I close up shop behind us as we leave.
You see some of the the lore's attempt to like cast some spells or something, but they can't do it because they're just constructs, and they're doing something that you would do.
They're so adorable.
But obviously it's just like pixel dust that casts out from them and nothing really happens. So they go back to like straightening up, looking intelligently at like blueprints and shit on the walls and just, acting like you basically.
Moving things around, but having no actual reason to.
Yeah, they'll put it in one place, pick it up, and put it in another place, and then just back and forth because
like just really low like 140p lore. Like
yes, yeah.
It's 140p lores trying to do their best.
God bless them.
Oh, they're gonna be fine. We start heading towards the Ministry District.
All right. Obviously, it doesn't take you too long. You're plotting the route. This is pretty commonplace, but you head across the bridge. The guards just kind of like wave you on by because they're getting more and more accustomed to see you as you pass by. And then obviously you head out to Dhakiir's house, his noble house.
All right. I knock pretty hard on the door, and I say, "We're here to see if you're ready for brunch."
And at this point in time, I would say Dhakiir's probably already in his office. He had dropped off the note to Nami, and Nami doesn't necessarily react. She is there. She's present, awake, working. You can, at least everybody at the door can likely hear frantic moving of paperwork, organizing, shuffling of things. But I would say that Dhakiir should be able to hear lore as he's just be like, "Hey, we're fucking hungry. Let's go."
Dhakiir has been trying to make a very concerted effort toward trying to handle his paperwork, but he does get up gratefully from his desk and go downstairs.
As you open the door, well, as I would say this, as you pass by, so you go down the stairs and you pass by the entry where Nami's front desk is positioned. She is there, and she looks like she is in full panic mode to get things straightened out, get things in line for certain items that may or may not be coming to fruition.
You know what? I'm gonna leave her to it. She's better than I am. Okay. Well, I will go to the front door and see who's knocking with some dread.
As you open the door, you see your partners in crime or legitimate business.
Ta-da!
I have no idea how relieved I am to see you. Come in, come in.
Ah, glad to see you too.
Expecting someone else?
Yes.
Well, do tell. So walk in after him.
It's not. It's family matters. Come on upstairs.
All right. I follow the two upstairs.
Yeah, you can see like Nami peek up real quick and just kind of glance up and see that it doesn't look like she was very concerned because she heard who it was. But she kind of like glances at as everybody passes through, walks up the stairs, or passes by her area, and she kind of sighs a little bit, not necessarily in disappointment, but maybe it's out of relief. Not entirely sure at this point, but she's definitely worried about something. For those of you who aren't already aware.
So, what's going on?
Just family issues. Maybe I see more. Come upstairs. So I go into my office, and you'll notice that as you walk in, that the paperwork on Dhakiir's desk is not just like kind of like sorted into like clear stacks, but it's more like scattered, like he's been apparently going through it.
This is at least for you all, very unlike Dhakiir. Out of character to some degree.
Very out of character.
Are these family issues like to jeopardize your position as my client to some degree?
I don't think it's likely to do that. It's more just going to make my life very difficult.
Dear gods, is it tax season and I forgot?
Is it?
Oh no!
Do you want me to roll a d20 to see if it's tax season?
I guess. I mean, so part of me says no, but part of me says yes.
Alright.
It's a 1.
Jesus shit.
Oh god. Oh,
What does a
God.
1 mean? Is it tax season or not?
Tax season came and went.
Oh no.
I
John Bernthal. No, wait.
no, wait, no. Oh no. I hurriedly scrawl a note down and give it to Quill. Okay, Quill, you need to remind me after today to go down to the district and just put my taxes in. Oh no.
Luckily enough, even though it's past tax season, you could probably work in like a late fee somewhere, shape or form,
Probably.
where you can still pay without, serious fines.
Oh no. So Lore also now looks panicked.
Well, I guess you understand some of the concern. I am having trouble going through my paperwork. That's what I'm trying to handle right now.
Is there
I
something
feel like my eyes are. Beg pardon?
maybe I could help?
If maybe you could try to read some of these things to me. I feel like my eyes are crossing and I can't understand. I can't make heads or tails of anything I'm looking at.
Well, sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
What would I need to do that?
Like
Roll an intelligence check.
Yeah, if you wanted to roll an intelligence check, that's fine.
I'll
You know
I'll
what?
try
I
and put a dent
somehow
in this
luckily
stuff.
have apparently managed to figure out the things that are like important enough to like pull out of this pile.
Holy crap. All right, well,
Roll
Fucking
21.
Lore knows business. I'll just say that. He knows numbers.
I will try and put a dent in this stuff as well.
All right.
I'm just happy I got a 15 with a +0.
Yeah, that is true. That's actually a pretty good roll for Dhakiir.
Nice.
That's still pretty good too. All right.
Respectable rolls.
So I would say while aiding lore, because lore kind of takes point like, oh, here, here's your filings for all the expenditures that you had, and you go through the whole finance rigmarole of figuring out like what your expenditures are, what any kind of profits were, kind of tracking where these expenditures have went, in so, at least as far as you can do with the paperwork that you have on hand. So that way, if you're gonna be audited in some way, it can make a little bit of sense. And this takes you a little bit of time, but you're able to kind of get it a little bit together.
Yeah. Ooh. Fortunately, you have most of your important paperwork here. You don't believe how many people I've run into that just sort of toss everything? Yeah, don't do that.
I never toss anything, except it just goes into the pile. They figure it'll sort itself out.
Yeah, it usually does. Unfortunately, it usually does in this sort of circumstance, if you know what I'm saying.
There's that too. Alright, thank you. It's just been so hard trying to read all these things.
Well, I've been taking you away from your duties, apparently, so it's only right that I can help a little bit.
I appreciate it. I will admit, I have been less than diligent.
As you all, go ahead.
Whatever keeps the vipers and the big nests in the agency off your back.
Well, it's very, I would say, this is still kind of different for at least you, Artemy. You're used to helping your mom out a little bit with some of these things, at least in the past, but right now, it's really not a factor. Yeah. And you kind of get your money elsewhere, so like tax-free and maybe a little under the table. So it's not really like logged like some of these expenditures are, but at the very least, you're able to kind of like take your past experiences and roll it into there. But I would think that Artemy
probably done some money laundering at some point.
But I would think that Artemy's like, thank fucking goodness I don't have to deal with this shit on a regular basis.
Yeah.
It's mostly just banal paperwork and matching receipts to invoices.
Yeah, exactly.
The thing is, it's not just the tax part that I'm worried about.
It's the expenses too, right? We had to find all the things that you've claimed you've expensed and find all the receipts for that.
So that's where the family issue comes in. Oh, and then I realize you've been asking your family for this money, and that's probably why they're concerned. Whoa. Another dice. Uh-oh.
You, as you all are discussing the paperwork and trying to go through and obviously make sure it's sorted, and once you get it in nice little discernible piles, you hear almost like a shriek from downstairs. It's almost like like a quick yelp from downstairs.
Dhakiir tenses up.
Uh-oh. Are we about to be attacked by assassins?
Worse. And he stands up. And actually takes some time to adjust his clothing, make sure everything's sorted. Even uses a quick cantrip to kind of cleanse any sweat or whatever off of his clothes. And straightens his spine and walks out the front door of his office.
As you start to go downstairs, you hear, at least outside, there is a carriage with some mounts. You're probably a little bit more familiar with it than anybody else will. Basically, it's the sound of giant claws clicking against the cobblestone instead of horseshoes, and you hear that come to a stop, essentially right in front of the house. And as you kind of descend the stairs, you look over to Nami, and once teal, she's gone a little bit pale as she kind of looks out the window to what you would assume to be is the visitor.
Dhakiir will nod to her and put up like a quelling hand, like, hey, like kind of trying to imply, it's fine, I'll handle this.
She nervously basically goes back to trying to straighten things out, but you could tell that she's just like a little bit shaky.
Yeah. Dhakiir is shaky too, but he's kind of keeping himself composed.
But as you basically try to quell Nami, you hear a carriage door open, a carriage door shut, and then some more basically footsteps with some claws that are clicking against the pathway to the house, and a knock at the door.
You'll wait for the knock, and you'll walk slowly over to the door. So to make it seem like he wasn't just standing there waiting for it.
He's like hiding underneath the window or whatever, the door sill.
Yeah, he's very carefully staged. I'm not trying to make it seem like I was absolutely waiting for this to happen, and we're standing right at the door. I want to make it think I actually had to walk there for a bit. I'll walk up there and I'll open the door. Hello, welcome to the King's Santusigo. ABC, how may I assist you? And then I'll look up to see who it is there.
As you open the door, you notice a very larger than yourself, dragonborn woman who is your mother. She's white scaled in fairly regal attire, long flowing hair behind her, and with a very almost stern look as she glances around the premise.
Ah, mother, what a pleasant surprise.
One second here. Had to fix something real quick. Okay, that was gonna annoy me. She, with her hands behind her back, kind of like almost in a, it is definitely a very authoritative, posture. She almost has to duck to come into the door frame, because she is a very boundingly tall dragonborn, and she kind of just exhales as she, comes in a almost disappointed manner. Not entirely. It could be exhaustion from the ride, but she glances to her son, and says, "Dhakiir, it's been a long journey. If you can get me something to drink and get me some place to sit, I would appreciate it."
He bows very politely and deeply, but of course, here, let me take you to the sitting room. What would you prefer? And he will lead her over toward his receiving office, which is on the bottom floor, not to his personal office upstairs. There's some sort of receiving meeting room type place.
Yeah, there's a seating area. She just waves her hand as she goes to take a seat in one of the seating rooms. Any kind of tea that you may have. I'm quite parched from the journey.
Walk up the Nami, if you could please, do you prepare some tea, please, for my lady mother?
Yeah, Nami in particular basically is still very super nervous, but does exactly as asked as soon as she can, and goes to the kitchen and starts preparing a drink for the dragon mom. As your mother enters in the room, and goes to take a seat, you notice that there are two other gentlemen that kind of come in and flank her to a degree. They're her personal retinue and guard.
Of course. Yeah, of course.
And they come in to essentially inspect the area. It's just two bulking, like they're basically larger lizard folk. They're not exactly like dragonborn. It's evident by like a lack of certain features, but there's obviously a distinction between her and her basically entourage.
Dhakiir pays them no mind whatsoever because they are basically a fixture of the furniture back home. So
yes. But these two hulking brutes just go around. They, do a quick look around of the premises and then go and fixate themselves right next to Queen Mother, basically.
Dhakiir, after asking Nami to attend to the tea, comes back and sits down. So, what brings you away from the island? It's quite a long trip.
It was quite a long trip, son. I am making sure that our finances are in order. I have been receiving a lack of information that I've been needing. We have many expenses going out, but I'm not entirely sure what we're investing here anymore. And I would like to see what we're actually receiving for the things that we're paying for.
Well, I mean, we can bring you up to speed on all that. I'm sorry. Unfortunately, paperwork is not always my strong suit.
Well, your brothers and sisters seem to have a fine hold on it. Would you rather me send one of them here instead?
I wouldn't want to pull them away from whatever important business they're handling.
You do not get a choice in that, son. If I choose to send one of them, I will. I am giving you this opportunity to do something and make sure that, obviously, our family succeeds. We cannot have a successful clutch with individuals just spending money and it going wherever it needs to go without any kind of profit. We're trying to build an empire. We're trying to become better than the bank. The treasury, it controls too much.
Very well then.
She kind of like sits back in her chair a little bit after getting a little bit tense and a little bit flared in the nostrils over speaking. Who else is actually nearby? I'm guessing both Artemy and Laura are still nearby.
Artemy's probably going downstairs and making a cup of coffee or something.
Like vacating to the kitchen.
and like for a brief moment, like making himself known to the guards. Like just making eye contact as he walks downstairs and then just going to the kitchen.
Okay.
I think Lore's going to make sure this paperwork looks real freaking good. And just sort of have my glasses on and be doing that administrative work and help out on the background, because, that sounds...
This kind of reminds me of, like, when your friend is getting chastised by a parent, you're like, oh shit, I need to go find something to do that's not here right now.
Pretty much, like, I really don't want to be in the spotlight on that. That sounds...
Just Breaking Bad, Jesse is at the table, just drinking a glass of water.
Yeah.
Oof, this is spicier than I was imagining. So I'm gonna keep helping out on the back end. Hope.
The mother, I'm gonna call her Kess because I just named her Kess. But I'll just say, the dragon lady. That's a little inside joke there. The dragon lady essentially goes on and after taking a look around the house, she looks to Dhakiir and she asks if, is this all that our money can afford in this town?
I did not think it was necessary to be spending on too many extravagances, It is important to save the coins, yes?
It is, and I'm curious what we've been spending it on then. I have paid for personal security for you, because obviously that is very important. You are of noble name, and I need to make sure that my son is protected at all costs. And I have also put in much of our money into an investment of something that should hopefully secure our names alongside of what would, I presume, to be a very notable arms distributor.
Yes, and that is honestly, I've been putting a lot of work toward that recently.
Well, please, son, show me.
Well, regarding the security, there was recently some attempt to either, I think, frame me for the death of some poor stone-born individual. But that is currently with the City Watch. They have handled it. We managed to capture some of the assailants. And the City Watch is handling that now. But as for the rest, the business partner, I believe he's upstairs. Once again, we're going over the paperwork, so if you would like to see, you can come up, though I'd say perhaps maybe just wait a few more minutes until we get the tea.
Yes, I shall wait. And do you remember when you were younger, your father was framed for a murder as well from one of the scaled in the courts, and your name is going to bring that attention, son. You obviously have dealt with it, which I am happy, but do not think for a moment that months and years of your life are gonna go without some kind of sabotage, putting your name through the mud and dirt and making you look like a fool. The worst thing that you could do is have that affect you and then actually act like a fool yourself. So keep your head up and just wear our name proudly, please.
I understand, Mother.
She kind of relaxes back, and you can see like the two bodyguards on the sides. They're just kind of like, settling into that position. They try to stay as still as possible and as stoic and emotionless as possible, but you can see some of them are just like they're wanting to stretch more now that they're out of a carriage that they've probably been riding in for days at a time. And yeah, it's like there's these little micro movements of them of being like, God, I'm so fucking glad I'm not in that carriage anymore. But it's got to be a pretty big carriage because your mom is big. She's a big woman.
How has court been lately?
Court is as it always is. You have to play that game in order to establish any kind of power, but we're winning over some seats slowly but surely. Your oldest brother is doing his best, vying for more power on the island. Of course
he does.
It's never an easy task. There's always individuals trying to vie for more independence one way or another, but of course if there's no money backing it, it's a little bit harder, so that's why we just try to control the money. What else have you been doing with your time, son?
Well, just getting to understand the local culture, helping secure resources for the investment, investigating a little bit here and there as to the competition, things like that.
I need you to arrange a meeting with, at least one individual that we have been paying for information, and they have been pretty reliable, but I don't know how to contact them myself. It is a goblin individual, I guess, you have been dealing with for the most part. They've told me or sent word that they have someone that may be of importance to your business dealings.
I can certainly arrange a meeting with him if you wish. I would warn you, he is a bit lowbrow.
I'm used to dealing with lowbrow, son.
Understandable.
She kind of glances over to the two bodyguards left and right.
Maybe a bit more lowbrow than that.
Short brow, maybe? I don't know.
Part of me at this point is probably like somewhere in the sitting room, like just he's paid to to keep him safe, so he's just doing bodyguard shit.
Yeah. But Kess looks to you, obviously, if you're back in, and she looks back to her son, and is this your protection that we paid for?
Yes. Unfortunately, the other one that we hired was called away on different duties.
Well, at least there is one to protect you. And maybe we can test his metal later.
I'm not sure if that's necessary.
It's just raise an eyebrow.
I have to make sure my investment is secure.
Can respect that to an extent.
Where's Shay right now? Or sorry, Lore.
There's like a audible gulp from upstairs. Like, I've put together the expense report and put it all into like a actual folder that's presentable. I've even found the embossing equipment to make the little sigil correct. I'm gonna bring that down.
Okay.
With my glasses on. I'm gonna say, sorry about that. I just wanted to put the finishing touches up on this, and just sort of walk downstairs, trying to hide my shaking knees. Fortunately, I'm short, so it shouldn't be hard.
Yeah, it's true.
Dhakiir will reach his hand out for the paperwork.
Here you go.
Thank you, Lon.
Of course. Took a little while because, well, just wanted to make double check that everything was okay there. Looks like it's perfectly good.
I appreciate it.
I still think a
Dhakiir
little
will
less combat.
make a show of looking over the papers before handing them to his mother. He's not absorbing any of it. Like, he has no real clue what he's really looking at, but he's just going to make a show of looking over it and then hand it to his mother.
I was gonna say, she starts to slightly cock her head a little bit, as if, like, you're just basically wasting her time. She doesn't necessarily know whether or not you are, but she's kind of curious if you are actually doing that. And she takes the paperwork and sets it onto the table in front of her. No, she's large. She's like larger than, well, she's taller at least than Dhakiir is. So I forgot how Dhakiir's kind of short for a Dragonborn, right?
He is a little bit short.
Yeah.
Kind of the runt of the litter, as it were.
Yeah. So she's probably she's pretty tall. She's probably like 8 feet. So
he's 6'4".
yeah.
So if she's like 8 foot, it's like, yeah, she towers over him.
Yeah, she towers over a lot of people for the most part. But she, like, just imagine obviously an 8 foot tall individual like setting the paperwork on a table that is probably too short for them, or at least, shorter than normal for them. And then she actually pulls out a set of glasses and affixes them close to her eyes so she can actually take a look at the paperwork. She goes through it very meticulously and just nods and the typical as she kind of goes through them, and everybody else is like being patient. She definitely takes her time though, probably a little bit uncomfortably long time in comparison to like what you would think it would take to go through this. So she may be meticulously combing over the information that you all kind of collected.
Yeah, Dhakiir probably might be just like quietly clenching his jaw because he realizes she's probably doing it for theater just as much as he was. But
That's the family way.
It is.
But eventually she folds the paper back down, slowly takes her glasses off and puts them in a nearby pocket. And she turns to look at Lore and says, "So you are the proprietor of the Many Works?"
Yes, ma'am. I am the Lorley Dudekill. It's nice to meet you. And he bows.
She nods a little bit. Pleasure.
I assume that you're also here to check in on the investment in the Dune Kill properties.
Absolutely.
Well, I have a, let's see here. I summon Quill. Give me the scroll deck for Dune Kill financials for this year. And Quill starts wandering through my chest of many things, mostly paperwork. And eventually pulls out the scroll work. It displays all of our purchases for this last year, and it shows that for the last year over year we've been growing significantly, and that we have operations all over the globe, and that we're sustainable as a business.
Green, sustainable, non-GMOs.
Well, I was going to say economically, like we're not
Free.
we actually have revenue, but yeah, also that.
Yeah.
Recycled materials, scrap, hiring people from all around. Diversity
Equal opportunity
hires.
employer.
Yeah, she'll actually look at this probably quicker than the paperwork that Dhakiir presented. And you probably notice that she goes just to kind of like the bottom line and notices that. And then she kind of pushes the scroll back. She's like, I would much rather see your current operation here in the city, if you don't mind.
Absolutely. Be glad to give you a tour.
I've been stuck in a carriage for quite some time, and looking at paperwork the entirety of today is not something that I had in mind.
Ah, perfect. Then maybe you'd like to see all the many wonders of the many works.
I would appreciate that.
I pull out another scroll case that has my touring prospects notes. And start my spiel.
Perhaps we should retire Tuesday Miniworks themselves. Perhaps.
Oh yes, let's go ahead and make our way down to the
I'm also going to assume that Nami probably came with the tea sometime during the paperwork review.
Yeah. I mean, you're all still kind of talking, but yeah, I would probably say before Laura got situated, she would have definitely came and presented the tea.
Yeah.
So that way, while your mom is looking through the majority of the paperwork, she's actually presenting the tea. Nami wouldn't. I may have forgot, but Nami wouldn't forget.
If there's one thing that Dhakiir has immense trust and respect for, is Nami's capability.
Yes.
She might be overworked, but she's capable.
She's so competent. She's more competent than the DM. So that's the role play.
Yes.
But yeah, eventually, as you say that, your mother looks very much so more interested in touring the facility than looking at more paperwork or hearing more, I guess, pitches about anything that could be just toured manually.
Yeah.
So, would you like to see the factory first? We just got it set up, and the manufacturing line is starting to make the alloy in action even now. Maybe we could catch them in the act of it.
Yes, anything to stretch my legs. I've been too cooped up. We need to walk around and see some of this action, so to speak.
Perfect.
Dhakiir will stand first, offer his mother his hand to essentially help her stand, as it were. Polite gesture.
Yeah, she'll take it politely. She wouldn't be that.
She doesn't need it whatsoever.
No.
No, absolutely, she doesn't need it. But it's a gesture of respect and so forth. And that's
Yeah.
why he's doing it.
And she takes it and appreciative of you offering it. And then as she gets up, the two lizard folk, two like big beefy lizard folk beside, basically come to. She motions with her head towards the door, and they go walking. Artemy, you notice as one of them walk by, they kind of give you like a tuft of air, like, yeah, right. As they pass you.
Dhakiir will spare a quick glance to Nami to let her know it's okay. I'm gonna keep this handled. Do what you gotta do. Just kind of silently indicating that as best he can.
Yeah, well, with semi-panicked eyes, she looks back and she just like slightly nods, like, okay.
And he will follow his mother out.
As they leave, I'll do a little whistle and just summon Jory, and he's going to be on Overwatch for this entire trip because rich political figures, new to town, that's a lot of attention.
Yeah, 100%.
And I'd like to, like, just in the middle of the trip, I'd like to roll stealth just to see if I can, like, catch the guards off guard with something. Like just a trip, or like a or like a prick at the ear. Like, watch yourself.
Yeah, so you're gonna try to fuck with the honor guard. Okay. Yeah, but we'll get to that here in a second. You can go ahead and roll stealth if you want right now.
Sure.
So that way we're on the way. You can do what you need to do.
Nice.
Let's see how much that was.
Expertise, boy.
Holy shit! Yeah, expertise is like awesome for that. So yeah, obviously you all exit. Nami is heard like after mom leaves, following her honor guard. You all can start to file out, but you can audibly hear her just like and like just sigh of relief as she still tries to do whatever work needs to be done by gathering whatever remainder of paperwork, assembling it into a file book. That way, the mother or Kess has it, and it's a little bit less tense with the mom not being present. So she's gonna get back to work and do her thing. But yeah, the door shuts. You all are all outside. You notice that there is a stagecoach with two almost like giant monitor lizards that have been pulling it for quite some time, and the stagecoach driver is just like a dragonborn that is tending to the mounts and the carriage and making sure everything is still okay and everything looks good. And she basically turns to the stagecoach driver and says, "If you could put my bags in the house, I'll be staying the night with my son." In they go. Obviously, they go to the back of the stagecoach, get the proper equipment off, which seems to be, honestly, if you catch a glance at it, looks almost like a military duffel bag. Very Spartan to a degree, but still with a sense of nobility to it. So where, a normal like rucksack would be very dirty and very just worn and like worn leather and cracked and everything from just wear and tear, this seems to be like hard or thick canvas with a bunch of different inlays of some gold, some silver. So it looks utilitarian, but like bougie utilitarian, if that makes sense. So it looks very like expensive, but it should still be utilitarian. But they grab it, walk inside, put whatever it is down, and then kind of come out a little bit after. And your mother turns to you, Dhakiir, and says, "Can lead on, son."
Very well. And I will lead on toward the many works. Along the way, he will kind of play like quasi tour guide, pointing out places that this is a decent place to eat. This place has good wine. So places that have had like interesting or novel trinkets or other things just to browse through.
Yeah, so
kind of pointing out it's things that he's seen.
Yeah, and as you go through the market district, she'll make some comments and her comments will more so exist of like, you know, feeling like maybe they have better stuff back home.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And like maybe some of this stuff is really just useless trinkets. Like it's almost very, very how do I want to say it? Underhandedly, you know, commenting on some things.
Passive aggressively, like just trashing the entire place. I get
Yeah. It's not home. It's not their, you know, it's not the family palace. It doesn't really impress her too much.
Well, he's aware. Like, half the reason he's doing this is just to mildly annoy her with the prattle about the stuff that he knows she's going to find it substandard anyway, but he's going to be nice about it and praise it and say it's actually pretty decent. Look, they make excellent food. It's not the style of food that we eat at home or we get on the island, but it is a different style of food from a different culture that but he's not going to explain why. He's just going to like praise it very nicely. Just
yeah, you can tell it's like it's definitely getting her to a degree. Like, why would my son entertain like this shit? And then, you know, she brings up the fact that, you know, well, you have to work here, so I understand why you're involving yourself in such like paltry entertainment and paltry, you know, everything simple garbage that you're entertaining yourself with because you have to. It's like you're roughing it to a degree. But
and he will like slip in just the hint of like, well, I mean, I did get assigned to this task, so I guess I just have to do the best I can. I'm not sure how he would say it, but he's definitely he tries to just put that implication, but as flowery as he possibly can.
Yeah. So what were you wanting to do, Artemy, to fuck with the guards?
All right, I'll stop me if this doesn't work with the 22 stealth I rolled. I want to minor illusion distract one of them. And like, are they like wearing daggers at their hips or something to that effect?
No, they're just like big boys. Like you would think that they're just like bruisers for the most part. So they probably have some like basic like honor guard equipment on them, but it would probably be like a tabard with Dhakiir's family's crest on it, and you know, maybe they've got like a gold lacing belt around their waist. Things like that, but nothing like weapons or anything like that. They look like they're just there to beat the shit out of somebody if they mess with mom.
Gotcha. Well, I want to minor illusion distract one of them, and like I want them to lose sight of me. And for one of them, just kind of show up with, like, say, just a dagger in the palm of my hand, like, not like blade pointing at them. And just kind of out of nowhere. It's dangerous to walk these streets without a sidearm, friend.
Yeah, let me go ahead. I'll just do like a d20 roll to see if they even come remotely close. We'll say they've got like a let's see. Hold on. Let me just see what they roll. Okay, good.
Yeah, I want to show them I could if I wanted to, and then just put the dagger away.
Yeah, so basically what happens is like you minor illusion like a bird, or like Jory basically swoops down and distracts both of them a little bit, and then because they're probably taller than you, and definitely bulkier than you as far as like a frame is concerned, you actually like come to the side of one of their like tendons, like Achilles tendons, and you put the butt of the dagger up next to it, and you give them your little catchphrase, and then they just kind of like, you know, they glance down like, yeah, you got me, but fuck you, buddy. Like they give you one of those glances that it's, you know, they're kind of upset that you got the drop on them because
like a pickpocketing trick, but you don't actually steal anything. You just show them you could, you know?
Yeah, like I could have just literally maimed your ass right now, and they're just like, you motherfucker. So yeah, you
Tit for tat, huh?
Yeah, you
Stab
get
the dagger.
you get the point across, and they go back to walking forward because they have to remain stoic for Mom essentially. But you can see you pissed one of them off, like this motherfucker got the drop on me. But yeah, you
And then just keep and watch the rest of the trip.
Yeah, and you'll continue to basically walk to the market district, and obviously being shown everything, and that's where the mini works is. The manufacturing or the factory, the mini works is just going to be the display, but I forgot where we put Lord you said.
Yeah, where is the manufacturer?
It's probably going to be in the shittier part of town.
Unfortunately, it's in the shittier part of town, so
Yeah.
we'll probably save that. I do want to go there though.
That's okay. You can still go there.
Oh, we can go there. By all means, let's please go there.
Yeah, actually, you know what? I could
Absurd.
kind of just feel it in my heart that Dhakiir would love that right now, and I'm just gonna move us that direction. We're gonna go to the new factories.
Let's progress to where it's worse and worse. It's fine.
Right.
We start with the good, and then like, hey, let's go visit this spot. And
Let's
go
drive
to
by the
worst-
mossy cleft.
Yeah, like,
You could.
Like, you know, we're on our way to where the manufacturers can afford a lease.
yeah, like the main portion, like, you know, we'll save the shittiest part of town section of the manufactory for like the end, you know, because let's let it degrade over time.
All right,
Just drive it home.
Let's
It'll be
visit
great.
Shambles Row.
Yeah, well, I wonder what Arcade's doing right now.
Let's go talk with our shadow informant.
So if you wanted to start off with the best and then get to the worst, I would recommend going to the many works and just obviously showing off that first, and then you can go to the manufacturing area, and then that's just like the shithole.
Yeah, I mean that's probably the best way to do it, because I can then warn that while the manufactory is the most efficient it can be, it's also a product of, well, what it is and where it is and who it is.
All right, there you go.
Besides which, also, it's like Dhakiir really just loves to the main reason Dhakiir would love this is just because, hey mom, this is the part of the world that you try to not look at.
That's true.
Because like we could go by many works, and then we could stop by one of the underhold securities or holdings facilities, and then we could stop by do and kill manufactories, and we can have that sort of slide. We can even stop by Stoneborn Ceramics and Kiln's little market stall if we want.
Well, I mean, you can pass by it, obviously.
Right,
Yeah,
we
let's
could
pass
point
by
that
that.
out. And, we could talk about the ceramics work that we do to keep our bottom line green, and how we've become a worldwide manufacturer of ceramics and cookware, as well as wall adornments and more. Kilns, and so more.
So, first things first, you'll very likely go to the many works. So we can RP this out if you all wanted to, or or keep it kind of straightforward. But I think what I would like to do at the very least is, as we go by each individual area, or at least key area, so I would say at least the many works and the manufacturing plant, that we do some roles. We'll say it's like I don't know if. Okay, so we'll put it this way: in the many works, has Lore and or Artemy been able to do any kind of work? Would you say during their downtime, would they have been able to conceptualize any kind of work or blueprints for like a Mark II or Mark I for the newest prototype for a Shardlock?
Absolutely. Lore stayed up pretty much all night after the engagement, writing a letter, and then after that, creating 3 prototype schematics. In fact, that's what we zoomed in on at the start of this session, is him finishing up 3 different prototype schematics for us to consider.
Gotcha. Okay. So we'll say this. You all make it to the Manyworks, and as you stroll up, obviously you present everything as you do, and you know the I would say this, the many lores probably are probably like at least a little bit intriguing to Mob. You see that pop up on her face, like, this is kind of interesting.
It's experimental technology. The core here requires an aether crystal, unfortunately, so it's probably a little bit out of the range of most people. But eventually, we should be able to have an unseen servant in any home.
I suppose that these crystals are a little bit more refined than what you would normally just find out in the wilderness. We have a lot of unrefined crystals in the scaled isles, especially out in the farthest areas that, you know, these individuals like these kind of, and she points to like the lizard folk. Individuals like these kind of live out in those conditions, which are terrible. But I'm assuming it's a very refined crystal.
Ah, yes, ma'am. It requires extreme refinement to get the properties we're looking for. However, and since you're such a valued investor, I'm going to let you in on a little secret called Project Dust. With these enhanced aether crystals that we do have, we're creating a seed project where we could grow these style aether crystals by just finding ley lines and building the appropriate facilities there. Imagine, instead of refining them, just growing them.
That sounds promising.
Yes. No longer will you have to go out and grab them from the field and then go refine them. No, just grow them in your backyard. Well, maybe, depending on ley lines. Depending on ley lines.
Would you say, Artemy?
We're turning into fucking Shinra. We're gonna farm the life stream.
Yes, we are. Hell yeah.
So, I let her in on our Skunkworks project to try to grow these extremely valuable aether crystals from seed crystals and condensed aether, especially in ley line areas where it just sort of does it itself.
And she looks around and basically nods. That sounds promising. What do you have for the current project of Shardlock development? I would really like to see that.
Ah, well, I'm going to show you our current manufactured alloyed aetherclave action, which is forward-thinking and currently compatible with every cartridge out there currently, as well as Mage Lock users. As well as these, and I pull out the schematics that I thankfully brought with me. These 3 Mage Lock, Shard Lock hybrids that I have come up with over the last couple of months. Hopefully we could actually start manufacturing them soon. I'm actually here to bring these schematics to our factory linesman. And I provide what appears to be quite a few parts, pictures, as well as a it's not an actual shard lock, but it's like a it's like 3 clay mock-ups of what they should look like after they're complete.
Okay. What
and
I
they're yeah, go on.
No, go ahead.
One of them looks like a staff, one of them looks like a traditional gun, and one of them looks like a shield.
Okay. Go ahead and, because I assume obviously, and this is just for the mock-ups and everything. This isn't necessarily for any kind of like practical application.
Yeah, these don't work. These are literally just, they're supposed to feel about the same weight and have the same handle and feel as they should, but they're they're mock-ups. If we want an actual gun, we're gonna have to go to the factory or to our underhold securities and holdings and go pick one up.
Yeah, well, what I was gonna say is like, this, I'm gonna have you guys roll. So essentially, it would be, depending on who wants to make the roll, is up between Lore and Artemy, essentially. I would assume that you are all kind of helping each other out in this to some degree, maybe. So that way, whoever rolls gets advantage on it. It would be like an intelligence check or like a knowledge check. And this would just be for like the presentation of the like the blueprints and the mock-ups themselves as like a proof of concept. It's not actual work yet being poured into a prototype. This is kind of like a like a, hey, this actually looks like a sound proof of concept that you're presenting to Kess right now.
Okay.
Well, I've got Smith's tools and Tinker's tools. If either of those would be applicable.
I think both of you would probably have the same kind of tools, but it really all depends on who has the bigger bonus. If you want to like min-max it, whoever wants to do the roll to actually like put this on paper.
I think mine's a +4 with proficiency and my intelligence modifier.
Mine would be +5, but I would, if you were heading the project, I would be down to help you.
You should sure. Let's just do that. Let's make that roll.
All right. Remember, it's got advantage.
Got stuck over there. All right. Well, that's not great, but
Yeah, it's better than nothing. It's better than the first roll.
Above average.
Yeah.
It's above average.
So obviously Kess, takes a look over and she nods a little bit. She's like, this again looks promising, but if we can go to some kind of small scale production soon, I would really like to see this, if I can, even firsthand. I understand if it's not ready yet, but I would just kind of want to see maybe the first batch or so of successful prototypes be sent to me so I can see where my money is going.
oh, well, absolutely. If you just want a set of prototypes, I could give you a set right now to take home. We could go buy underhold securities and holdings and pick up a set. What amount would be good for a test for you, ma'am?
One of each would be good, but you happen to have these prototypes already?
Oh, you want these prototypes? No, I'm sorry, ma'am. I thought you meant our current. I apologize. No, these are going to take some time for us to manufacture. Let's go to the factory itself and show you how it's going to be made.
That would be fine, yes.
So, I tell the carriage person how to get to the manufactory.
Oh, you're all walking. She wanted to walk.
Oh, we're all walking.
Yeah.
Oh, she wants to walk. Okay, well.
Yep. This is also why Dhakiir definitely wanted to go to like the
Well,
Well, her
Here we
logic
go.
was she's been riding for days. She wants to walk the rest of the way.
Go where the roads are all shitty,
Yeah,
getting mud on her boots and dress.
Like, possibly even literally shitty.
Yeah.
yeah, things are probably going to start getting a little bit smelly on the way over. So we're going to the working district where all of our factories are. And this is a smaller line, but it's meant for our experimental stuff. So we'll be able to show off what we're trying to do, and you can meet. Let's see.
Gotta break out your notes.
Chance.
Chance.
A new gnome who's just joined our factory because Stanley left. He had to leave Salus.
Fucking Stanley.
Oh, we love Stanley. He got old and he needs to retire.
All right. He's going back to one of his little hobbit holes.
Yes.
All right.
So Chance is gonna be our contact when we get there, and he's our new young foreman.
Awesome. Let's take a little bit of break, and then we'll take Mom to the factory. So meet back about 5-10 minutes.
It's already.
All right, cool. Yeah. All right, everyone. Give me about, 5 minutes or so. I'll come back. I'll talk with you all. And so we're gonna continue on this lovely little endeavor of giving Mom a tour before she cuts funding. All right, I'll be back in just a few minutes. Ooh, boy. It's always rough when family comes to visit. Especially when your mom controls the pockets of the entire family. The matriarch don't fuck around, that's for sure. How's everyone doing tonight? Hopefully everyone's getting their V risen. Make the visit as awkward as possible. Well, when your mom is high nobility, everything is awkward when it's not up to her standards. Hence why Dhakiir has a difficult time. Disco douche. My V is rising. I'm glad all of your V's are rising right now. I want to see if I can do something real quick, because reasons. How can do? I don't know if I can do this right now. Sorry, give me a moment. My V is so risen right now. Oh my god. You know what I would really, really need to do is I need to see if I can coincide ads with like some breaks that we do. That way things aren't interrupted as much for everyone. I should probably figure out what I need to do to get that done. That might make it a little bit better. Pause that, hold on. I've got so much stuff to do. I feel like I can't really get ahead of myself sometimes. But we'll get it down at some point in time. Okay. All right, let's continue. Let's continue. All right, nerds.
Hello, hello.
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 Let's continue to torture Mom.
Hell
Yes.
yeah.
By the way, I am loving this.
We're going to show.
This is
showing her
beautiful.
The beauty of Salus.
You see how
The beautiful stench and decay of desperate living.
yeah. You see how people are struggling in their homes? This is wonderful.
We pay top tier wages, so people want to
So
work
this
in
is an area they call slums.
Ugh,
people-
disgusting.
This is where people who are not fortunate enough to be born wealthy sometimes have to scrape together to survive as best they can.
Ugh, poor people. Serfs. Ugh.
Get them out of my face right now. So yeah, obviously you walk from the market district to the working district, and it becomes quite a bit dirtier than even what she was probably prepared for at that point in time. And a very visual look of disgust crosses her face as it becomes more and more of an area that she wouldn't particularly care to be involved in, but she's pretty determined. She doesn't really say anything, but she just looks like as if she's disgusted as she's looking around. And you pass by like the Misfortune, which, I mean, honestly, for people that know the city, it's kind of a shithole anyway. But there's people outside intoxicated, getting drunk on inside. It seems like a very big rabble to begin with. Then you pass by more and more housing areas that, like, 1 maybe 2 room houses, like kind of stacked up on top of each other in haphazard ways, just obviously in order to survive, are just being displayed with very open windows and a lack of sometimes curtains, just showing the harsh life that is within living in a very, very like cramped quarters as is, and she's just not enjoying it.
So,
Do we pass the mossy cleft at all?
You will, yeah, you will.
Oh, we can foist her on these other nerds. It'll be great.
Well, they're not there right now, thankfully.
right now.
No, instead they would get tended to by the kobold staff.
They would, yes.
Oh, they would form a new religion. They saw who we were bringing around.
Queen Mommy.
Queen Mommy.
Oh, Jesus Christ, yeah.
Mommy Queen.
Let's not do that. They might seek employment elsewhere.
Insubordination would occur right after.
I will say this. I don't think Dhakiir has the intestinal fortitude to try to convince his mother to go inside the mossy cleft.
Mom, would you like a bath?
You can wash off the road dust.
Oh,
If only the other team was here. That would be pretty hilarious, though.
It would be.
Oh.
But
as we are walking,
he will make an offhand. Oh yes, it's a very good hot spring. I've been there.
It would be a shit show.
It would be a shit show.
Good show.
I could just see fucking like Rin being like, "Mommy, what? Mommy, huh? Mommy, what?"
Mommy, what?
Mommy,
huh?
sorry. Mommy,
Mommy,
sorry.
Yeah.
Mommy, sorry.
But yeah, I mean, she takes note of it, and she's like, "How is that How is that right here? How does that exist in this refuse pool?
Oh, everyone needs a good soak every now and then. And I try to wave off that and tell her,
Well, sometimes
But-
it can take some very fine fertilizer to raise a flower.
yes. She's only the third investor to visit our facilities.
But she'll just kind of make a mental note of it as, like, I would say this. She tries to fake a smile of being like, haha, you're kind of right, son. But then it's still like, this is still very much so an area that she just doesn't want to be associated with.
So as we pass through, I inform the group that she's the third investor to our facilities, that we're really honored, and to try not to bother the workers because they're going to be in the middle of doing manufacturing runs and tests and stress tests. They're already trying to develop something, but it's more like the base parts that they would need for anything that we decide to do.
I mean, she remarks that she's not going to interrupt any kind of production, and she doesn't want to necessarily put a hampering onto your and her investments in whatever you're doing. She just wants to kind of see the happenings and see what's, what some of her money is going towards.
Excellent.
When it comes to talking about business, she seems to be, while straightforward, fairly even-tempered about it. Not like being like, oh, your business is what your business is here. Nothing really ever seems to come up with being derogatory towards the way that you're doing business, especially that now that you've shown her basically the bottom line profits of it, and that obviously her investment should be paying off, depending on now that she's seen the paperwork for it.
Oh yeah.
She just doesn't.
She's gonna see how the sausage is made now.
Yeah. She just doesn't like this area personally. She doesn't like this area.
Oh yeah. It's
Yeah, great.
It's a good leasing opportunity. So as we get close, it's really clear which one has the factory in it, because it's got two like stacks, like a cartoon would, spewing out smoke.
Oh yeah. It's like all the like the refinery is going off, and you're smelting different types of metals and ores, and obviously that's putting some output. So among like the normal like coal like smoke that would come out of the stacks, sometimes there's like flecks and puffs of like blue from maybe some aether dust that's been kind of ground in there with the coal for some reason, as just like an output of kind of like pollution, basically magical pollution.
Like glowing like aether. There's like a glowing pool of aether slag just kind of off to the side where we put it. We're gonna try to use it for something later, but right now, oh boy.
Just don't touch it. Yeah, just don't touch it.
Don't touch
We-
that.
We tried to put this in a much better, higher rent district, but for some reason we couldn't get the permits.
Yeah, no, there was a lot of protests about putting this factory in a different district.
We want it in the ministry district. That ain't gonna happen.
Why not?
Just what rich nobles need. Loud factory and dirty factory workers. That's what they want.
Super loud, polluting, terrible noise.
Nothing like aether particulates being breathed in through your lungs.
Speaking of which, I pull out some basic cloth respirators for everybody to wear as we wander towards. Everyone's got to be safe. The city is very strict.
She definitely puts them on, and you can see the lizard folk bodyguards, the retinue that she has, just kind of like pulls up some of their cloth from their it's almost like a I forget what you call it. Almost like, I guess the yeah, I was gonna say like an infinity scarf to be as close as like, but yeah, but a balaclava would be closer to kind of like how it kind of sets on them.
Don't say that, Red. Don't say that. No, I'm not.
Listen,
No.
his alignment is lawful money, so it's not really evil. He's just making money.
I'm not doing that. Would never. God, I hope we're not doing that. Anyway, I'm gonna put that out of my mind.
That's future lore's problem, not current
future lore's problem, not current lore's problem. So we wander in with our respirators, and of course, everyone who sees me immediately stops slouching and slacking off, because I'm a little bit lax about how they do their work as long as it's done. But they should see the like entourage, and they know that this is one of those moments.
Yeah, this is a business visit.
They better get on it. How does it feel? How do you feel about extirpating the entire Tabaxi population of Seorsum? No comment. Next question. If it's found that that's the case, we can handle that when I realize that. But man, that I didn't even realize that. That sucks.
Quick response: is it profitable to do so?
Is it profitable for my business to do so? And does current regulation and law support that? Probably. Did I think about that when I did this? Not even a little bit.
Shit's funny.
Well, anyway, now that the terrifying implication of what's occurring is really starting to take seed.
Well, I mean,
Are we the baddies?
you don't
No.
you don't know any of this anyway. This is all out of
Right,
character
I don't
stuff.
know. Right, exactly. Right now, I'm just having a friendly business.
Yeah,
visit.
Salas says this is okay, so it's okay. You know?
Yeah, that's just fine.
We're
This
not
is
doing
fine.
anything illegal.
There's
Yeah.
nothing illegal happening.
Yeah.
So let's go to our not illegal and incredibly safe by the Safety Commission of Salus, the SCS, I guess, an out arm of the agency.
Yes. That's good. I like that. Yes.
We wander through the front door of the manufactory, and there's probably about 30 people working the machines in there, but most of them are temporary work, right?
Yeah, I
So-
think that was what we went over.
Yeah, so like I don't actually know any person's name, but the 4-person Chance seems to have already like appeared at the front door when we open it, and they are like making a show of it in their nice clean work clothes, but it's clear that he's also working on the floor, so it's a little bit of his hair is out of place, and he's a gnome that's very good at his work, maybe not so experienced in this kind of stuff.
Well, I mean, as long as his work precedes him, and Kess is able to kind of like overlook and see that everybody's keeping busy. You know, it looks like obviously as soon as you entered that it got a little bit busier, but you know, that's how it is. And she'll turn to you and be like, I assume you have to keep them in line occasionally.
Well, yes, sometimes I do need to come in for a few visits, if only just so that I can make sure everyone's wearing their respirator. Everyone's wearing their respirator, right, Chance? We can't take any more fines.
Chance like looks down at what would be like I guess a clipboard, and it has basically where people have checked out their respirators for the day, and he kind of looks up and you know, wipes a little bit of sweat off of his brow from the normal heat and combustion within the area. He's like, yes, sir. Everybody is wearing their respirators as far as I'm aware.
Excellent. Well, as you can see here, Madam Cass is one of our benefactors, and I'd like to show her and her retinue the manufactory. So, if we could just, could we go see something in action?
Oh, absolutely. They're refining some of the latent aether crystals. We haven't obviously received any of the upgraded ones, but the ones that have been in production for quite some time, we're refining the lesser ones, as you have said in before, the aether crystals that need to be refined for our current line.
Perfect. Speaking of which, and I pull out a small little box that has 5 of the enhanced aether crystals in it, along with 4 other sheets of paper and the 3 that I revealed earlier, and I give them to Chance and say, here's the second line.
She takes them, and she basically in one of her hands. How big is the case, by the way?
The case should be big enough to hold 5 of the aether crystals comfortably, and with a soft material around all of them. So
Okay.
they should look like, it should be kind of long, like maybe like I guess if an aether crystal is about the size of a shot glass, about the size of a switch case.
Okay. Yeah, she basically can hold it in the palm of her hand then. And she'll overlook at him, and she goes and specifically picks one of them out and tries to hold it up to some light, some ambient light, just to see if she can, see anything through that. And it looks like, at least from your side of things, and probably Artemy knows about this too, is that the clearer the crystal, the better the quality. And this one looks like it's really clear. Like there's I forgot what the gem terminology for it, where it's got more clarity. I think, is it just clarity?
I think it is clarity.
Yeah, I can't remember if there's anything else. But essentially it has a high percentage of clarity, so there's very low cloudiness to these that you have lined up. So obviously she nods and basically understands that these look very, very premium in comparison.
And we've been given a large supply of these to start manufacturing our experimental line. We're going to need to create quite a few sets for our investors.
As long as I obviously get the few prototypes that come through with these new crystals, you can continue as planned. I'm satisfied so far with everything.
Excellent. Let's take a look at see how the gun is made. And I give my cheesiest smile.
she tries to smile back, but I don't know if it comes off just stern anyway.
I think it probably comes off at best like maybe slightly pained.
Yeah, probably. Or like librarian Dami Mommy. I don't know.
So the manufactory is actually got really great machines in it. They're top of the line and new. It looks like this factory may have just got it started like maybe this quarter.
Yeah,
like there's new grease on everything. It still looks like it still has that color of the new grease before it's got like all the soot and gross stuff in it.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's got a lot less ambient crud everywhere.
So I show the press and the hammering and the actual mold work that we do, because we're trying to either machine or mold our way to doing it rather than do actual blacksmithing, since that takes the most time. But blacksmithing, of course, allows you to have the most unique builds. So I show off that this factory is not only good for doing quick presses of of limited run guns, but can be switched out at a moment's notice to make like swords if we really needed to. So it's we're ready to do what we need to do to move forward in our manufacturing.
And she nods. She goes on to explain that obviously her initial investment was definitely to like aid in the advancement of shard lock technology, but she would definitely like to see what kind of manufacturing process can be attained from like a melee weapon of some kind. I don't know. I guess. Let me see if everybody wants to roll a knowledge check for me, or just even a straight intelligence check if you don't have knowledge. Just for some general, I guess, general knowledge about like magical melee weapons in the world.
Sure.
Would Arcana work for this?
Right.
Oh yeah.
I'll roll an intelligence check.
Well, 12's not very good.
Hey, you know what? I'm happy I got a 13.
Yeah, I would say it's not like ridiculously reserved knowledge to know that having like a magical weapon or a weapon that does something extraordinarily different over just like a normal weapon costs a lot in this world. And I'm not talking about just like monetary amount. I'm talking about if you have a weapon that has some kind of innate ability built into it of some kind of a magical nature, generally it has to be from the lifeblood of something, or some kind of fount of aether that is like ridiculously poor, like basically fabled shit. So you have heard stories, all of you at some point in time have heard stories about individuals that have forged weapons that have essentially either sacrificed themselves or someone else to make it happen, because it just doesn't work otherwise. Like you can't just typically rub aether on a weapon and it's magical, or like have it do cool shit. Usually you have to go through an entire process and sacrifice a lot in some way, shape, or form to get it done, which in turn makes shard locks and this advancement a little bit more important, because you don't have to go through that process to get something out of it, because technically the weapon is just the conduit for the magic. It's not something that is built into the actual weapon itself. So whenever you said the manufacturer of the melee weapons, if there's a way to do that, to circumvent literally these fables of old of like someone literally sacrificing themselves to pour their essence essentially into this weapon, it kind of like piques her interest even more, because that's something a bit more unique and definitely more difficult than just like having something in your hand that lobs magic at someone, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, we're definitely trying to do stuff like that at Stoneforge. We want to be able to put a weapon in someone's hand that has no idea how aether melding or magic works, be able to project quite a bit of force through it. We think maybe, do we talk about casters here to cast?
You can present your idea of that prototype, yeah.
It's like, I want to, when I bring it up, I don't want to like bring up a model or a weapon yet, but
yeah,
the concept of a consumable ammunition, considering the type of things we have to use anyway, that we can just sort of fire off and control, that has the sort of gun form, the lock form, so that she can understand where, like, the advance beyond the advance
Yeah, it's not just making the gun efficient, it's making it something different.
Right. We're trying to make a new type of lock here, and I didn't prepare a speech for that. So. Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you talk about it, she definitely nods and turns to her son and says, "This seems to be a very adequate investment, and I would just want you to be more on top of this, son."
I understand. I will work on making sure my paperwork is taken care of.
I think we've seen everything here that I need to see. Can we exit and maybe go to a more suitable location?
Of course. And I nod to Chance and give him the sort of subtle thumbs up.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do what I think is probably the best olive branch I can, and suggest we repair back to my favorite tavern.
Uh-oh.
Right, no, like the one that has a really good food.
Yeah, the boisterous bard.
The Boisterous Bar, yeah.
That's
Because I think it's outside of this area. It's in a better part of town, I thought.
Yeah, it's in the market district, so it is definitely in the better part of town.
Yeah, it's in a better part of town, and then they do food that, he recognizes from his home. It might not be the same, but, it'd be a place that has decent food. Sure, it'll still be beneath her, but I don't know if there's any actual are there high class dining establishments in the ministry district right now, or do most people just have private staff feeding them?
It's mostly private staff.
Exactly.
And honestly, your house is very minimally stocked, and it's mostly just you and Nami. But I mean, if you're trying to get more staff now, that may change. But for the most part, each individual noble house will have their own live-in staff to cook for them. There's no need for them to go out and eat anywhere else.
So I was like, Dhakiir was like, no, unfortunately, I do not have the staff to truly meet your request, but I do know a fantastic place that does some excellent food. And they have stuff that is the recipes even from the island.
And she kind of raises an eyebrow at that. And son, it's hard to find our food outside of the island, and I am very, very, very doubtful that they'll make it to the standards that I'm used to.
Maybe not. They would not, of course, be at the exacting standards of our own home's fine kitchen staff, but nonetheless, for what they have access to, they do a fine job. You know that I love my food. You know how I am about it.
Yes. Lead on, son. Lead on.
So I lead her to the Boisterous Bar, which is still a slight insult, but hey, they have good food and good food. So he's standing by them.
As you exit, and meanwhile, obviously, Jory is
And
still...
actually, I will probably nod to Artemy real quick, just as a side. See if you can secure us a private room.
I just nod.
Have them delivered to the Kinsen Tusigal ministry.
Got it.
I was gonna say, Jory's been doing pathing and making sure that everything is secure and nothing out of the ordinary, or at least centered or I guess focused on you all has come up at all. There's
worry at the muggers that would try to tackle my mother alone, let alone her and her two bodyguards. So
yeah, this is a little problematic.
I would imagine everyone's giving us a 10-foot wide berth.
I was gonna say, it's probably more of a wide berth situation. That's a big woman, and those are big boys near them, and I mean, they look like they got money, but I don't know if I want to lose a limb trying to get money.
Yeah, it would have to be a hell of an ambush to
Yeah. Oh goodness.
I would worry at their sanity. That's all I'm saying.
On the way, since I have the criminal background and I have the criminal contact feature, can I like just pull someone aside who I work for? It's on the street. Get Stinky. A colleague wants a word.
Yeah, like if you wanna basically send a word through like the whispers line.
Yeah, I send a runner.
Okay, yeah, and they'll run because everybody, at least in the dark, so to speak, is cool with one another. So yeah, one guild can send light. Well, most of them are cool with each other. So you'll be able to send through the whispers somebody to go fetch Stinky, essentially.
Make a meeting of it at the Boisterous Bard.
Before you actually get to the Boisterous Bard, however, as Artemy kind of like comes back and I guess you do secure a private room. They ask how much the party is and everything, and it would be upstairs, but at least it would be a little bit sequestered off from everyone else. As you kind of like emerge from there, and then the group kind of shows up to kind of meet you there as well, you see that Kess kind of just looks you over and says, "And now for this part of the business." She's just staring at you, Artemy.
I raise an eyebrow.
We need to make sure that you are protecting my child as best as possible, so I need to test your mettle.
It just kind of gives a half chuckle.
And she looks to the two.
Fine, I'm game.
And then they actually move aside. And they go to the front of the Boisterous Bard. And you can see that Kess starts to unbuckle her pauldrons and like places.
Oh hell yeah!
It starts to like place them close to the actually on the lizard folk that are standing by the door. So she's like getting more comfortable with the situation, and after she takes off like all of her endowments and whatnot, it looks like she's almost wearing like a I'm trying to think of the best thing to describe it. I think it's a. Hold on, let me see if I can look it up. Well, actually, no. We'll make it resemble more of like a sari, like an Indian sari, that she's wearing underneath. And as she approaches you, she kind of like gives you a hand in the direction of the street. It's kind of in front of the Boisterous Bard, but also you can see that the Boisterous Bard is almost in between districts. So it's in the street, and it's in between essentially the Misfortune, which is that shitty dive bar, and then Boisterous Bard. So you guys would basically she's offering to spar you in the street.
I just kind of. Is Dhakiir in the room while?
Dhakiir is standing to the side, his arms crossed, with this kind of resigned look on his face, like he knew this was coming and he knew this is exactly what was going to happen.
Artemy just kind of. I like this one, and I step outside.
Very practical.
Another, I always like to say that if you want something done right, you should do it yourself.
Well, it makes a lot of sense. I like your mom's way of thinking. Although, damn, it scares the hell out of me.
It's strange when you get used to it. And he'll step outside to watch what's going on.
Yeah, I guess I'm gonna watch too.
All right. Sarah's just
Gotcha.
sending some messages. So, obviously, Mommy Cass steps into the streets, and she makes sure that obviously, if there is any kind of bystanders, that they kind of give everybody a wide berth. She's just kind of like pushing her hands aside, making sure that she's holding up the, like, don't come any closer, kind of, stop ordeal, and just looking around and making sure that if there are any kind of passersby, that they're not walking through the streets at this point in time. And then, like Ip Man, she offers the hand right in front of her for you to kind of like approach right across from her in a very like dually type format.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
As part of adopting this, like, I'll mimic her posture, and I'll press a hand to my chest and cast Mage Armor. And then as I put my hands outward, I'll start Blade Song.
Okay.
As I kind of like bring my hands across each other, it's almost like I'm bringing a bow to a violin, and the air starts to sing around me as I start Blade Song.
As you're doing that, on her side of things, do you know what like mudras are? They're just basically like fuck, if I could describe it in the most weeb-like fashion, it would be like Naruto.
I play a ninja in Final Fantasy. Does that count?
Yes. Okay, yes. So basically, like hand gestures that she starts to go through, and it creates, certain basically symbols in front of her, almost in like a very illuminated yellow, like radiant light that just sigils start to perform in front of her. And as you start to go and finish your like violin cut of your casting, she claps, and it's very, very resonating, almost like you would assume a thunderclap would be. And then as she claps, there is a figure that appears in front of her, almost as tall as her, 8 foot tall, in shining radiant armor, with a giant greatsword, and it appears at the ready, essentially to fight and spar with you.
Well, all right then. No need to hold back then, and I'll... Like, at first I thought she was going to do like a hand-to-hand thing, but now I pull out the sword.
Okay. So we're gonna go ahead and just do like some basic stuff, obviously. Nothing too in-depth. But what is your initiative?
It would be +3 for my dexterity modifier.
Okay. We will say that she's very likely slower, so go ahead and go first.
It's all right. Let's keep a few things in reserve for now. I will... Jory will appear on my free arm, perched like a bird of prey, and I'll just send him forward. It's probably like speaking fly in Elvish, as he distracts the big spectral warrior, and I'll go in for a slash with a scimitar.
Okay.
Just regular attack with advantage?
Yeah.
Oh!
Jesus, yeah, that... I think that hits.
That's 2d6 sneak attack. For 26 points of damage total.
All right. As you come down and basically strike the shit out of this kind of like radiant spectral warrior, you come across its sword as it's basically in its stance, and it shatters basically in just like a radiant light and crumbles down, the sword itself. and the you can notice that there are some cracks that are essentially forming in the actual Radiant Warrior itself. So it doesn't have a weapon anymore, and it's definitely looking very damaged from what you just done with it. With this, like, is it the dark blade that you're using?
No, this is just a regular scimitar.
Just the, oh, okay. I thought you said you cast like blades, or you were doing some like funny shit.
He started the fight by starting Blade Song.
Oh, okay. Just wanted to make sure that there's no other cool visuals that we're referring to here.
It's like it's like the big Iaijutsu slash thing.
Yeah, okay.
Where the blade is in its scabbard one instant, and he closes the gap, and in a blur of motion just shatters the blade.
Gotcha. Okay. After that, obviously, she is actually kind of surprised that you were that quick with the attack, as well as shattered that particular image. And you can notice that her she begins to do mudras again with her hands, and the spectral knight goes to essentially just plunge into you with a shoulder bash as best as it can. I'm gonna go ahead and just roll and see what happens. What's your AC?
Right now, 19.
Yeah. All right. So how do you want to for it to miss? It's just gonna basically try to shoulder bash into you.
Probably just pivots around it on one foot. Like it goes for the shoulder bash, and Artemy brings up the scabbard of the blade, parries it, and pivots around for another strike.
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
We're gonna make this just a normal attack. Oh, not as good.
Yeah, that's a 1.
Damn near max damage, crit, and a 1 back to back.
Yeah, that sucks.
Showing the range. The range of possibility.
I would use my bonus action for a second swing if that's applicable here.
Yeah, it's okay.
Just pull out a short sword from his waist and take another swing.
Well, hold on. Before you do that, I think Serpent gave you some good shit.
So, all right, I'll roll the scimitar attack again.
Yeah. You can still keep the bonus as well.
Does a 14 hit it?
No, but at least it's not a complete shitty failure.
All right, so the short brings the scimitar down as, like, I imagine it just kind of bounces off its armor with a free hand, pulls out a short sword, and delivers a glancing blow for 1 damage.
Okay.
Since it does not... I have offhand attacks, I should have used those. But yeah, it's just 1 damage because it doesn't have the ability modifier.
Yeah, that's okay.
New round?
Yeah, this is basically like round 2.
So you could still sneak attack with that.
I didn't have the owl fuck with it, so I didn't have advantage.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Right.
But yeah, it's obviously it's gonna try to spin around and almost like a spinning back fist as you kind of like parried through it. It's just gonna try to, like, almost in robotic fashion, just try to spinning back fist and try to hammer its way through whatever is trying to mess with it. And how would you want it to miss now?
Probably just like skidding backwards on his feet to dodge the spinning back fist.
Okay. And it's obviously a very large fist because it's the size of it is mirroring Kess, so it just looks like a very radiant warrior that almost has her same figure, and obviously it's weaponless now, but when it spins around, that fist is probably as big as your head. It just completely misses as you kind of like skate back a little bit. And you may go again.
Enough lollygagging, Jory. I send him forward to use the help action to pester the spectral warrior.
Yep,
that's 23 hit it.
Yeah, that's it.
All right. For 5 points of damage. One's on both d6s, Jesus. So it's another, not as glancing, I imagine, but still kind of, like, it doesn't really give a shit about it. Bonus action, we're gonna strike with the short sword again. I imagine a 9 doesn't hit.
No, it does not. But you're kind of like whittling it down and whatnot, and you can see that parts of the armor are chipping off, like the radiant armor is chipping off. It's not doing a substantial amount of damage as your first strike, but as you hit that one last one, you notice that Kess starts to make just another set of mudras, and then the figure itself starts to glow and then shake up like very, very violently, and then it basically explodes. We're just gonna roll one last time. You said it was 19?
Yep.
Okay. So as it explodes, it rolled an 18, so it's gonna, we'll say just it misses for simplicity's sake. How would you want to avoid being hit, as it's basically just like a the projected force looks like it is a controlled blast towards you, and yeah, you can deal with it however.
Does it deal, is this like an elemental thing? Is this fiery energy? Like, it's lightning energy?
I guess it would be like radiant, so like it would be probably more fire.
All right. As I see the fire energy building up, I'll say I use my reaction to cast absorb elements.
Okay.
Hold out the scimitar, make a few flourishes with the blade, and gather the fire on the sword.
And as you do, it actually coalesces on the blade for a certain amount of time, and then you start to look like you're Mini a little bit. So yeah, it just kind of coalesces on the blade, and then you notice that Kess drops her hands from her like mudra stance and gets back to more, instead of like, I'm gonna try to fuck shit up, to a more prim and proper. She nods, and her hands go behind her back as if she's like a teacher, and nodding with approval, and she's very good. And then she starts to walk over to get her stuff again.
Dhakiir will catch Artemy's eye and just give the very that good satisfied, yeah, well done, good job, nod, yeah.
It's probably like make a bit of a show of stowing the swords.
Yeah. But Kess decides to obviously start putting back on a lot of her ornate like pauldrons and things of that nature, and then obviously enters in the boisterous bard, whether or not you're ready.
All right, let's go inside and be escorted up to our private room.
Yeah. So it is kind of busy today-ish. It's probably like late afternoon at this point in time. Maybe around dinner-ish time for most individuals. So it's starting to get busier and busier. Most of the tables on the ground floor are probably occupied by people just wanting a meal out for the night. So maybe a lot of individuals from the market district that aren't wanting to cook There is a bard playing with his crew, and as you know, they're performing, and boisterous bard goes about its business as normal. You all are escorted up to your private room, and you actually get the almost like a suite where there is like a private bathroom, and there is a bed there, but there's also a full dining table that you can partake and actually look over the outside, as it has like a just an overview of the street from the outside.
Dhakiir will motion toward the bathroom. Why don't you go ahead and wash off some of the road dust? I'll make arrangements for dinner.
Your mom just nods and then goes about doing in a very stoic way, not revealing any kind of emotions about the situation or what you've currently gotten yourself into. She just goes and washes up as the two bodyguards sort of follow her, but then make sure that they're just sitting on the door that you guys entered in.
Yep. And I'm going to carefully select and curate a proper menu. Mostly stick to things that should be fairly easily recognizable by my family, by my mother. And if they don't have wines or whatever that are quite the right flavor, he'll certainly find the best analogs. Especially stuff that would complement the meal properly. He would look to Artemia and Laura's like, is there anything you would want in particular?
Whatever today's special is, I suppose.
Okay.
Does your old lady have a habit of that sort of thing?
She likes to keep her skills honed. Much of my family does. We are a family of warriors, as it were.
Always keeps things interesting, I suppose.
It does.
It's quite
Especially
the
when you
show.
know. Especially when one is not a warrior. So,
Warrior or not, I've seen you in a fight.
Song, I swear.
wish I could say the same for others. But, regardless, it is not the time to make those kinds of protestations.
So yeah, you're able to pick out a lot of different foods, mostly meats, probably some veggies that are at least an analog to that of the scaled isle. But for the most part, you probably understand that your mom likes a lot of very, very rich and hearty meals. The equivalents of like duck, very sometimes very fatty meats. She's very much so a carnivore, but she occasionally likes her veggies as long as they are to her liking. You're able to pick out as best as possible, and after she washes up and you all kind of get settled in, you're able to obviously eat a pretty good meal at the Boisterous Bard without any kind of interruptions. She's not ridiculously talkative, although she makes an odd comment or two about this isn't like the food back home, but I do suppose it's a good substitute for while you're here.
It's okay, I guess.
Yeah, pretty much.
There's one other thing. Dhakiir does also take the time to summon an unseen servant and have the unseen servant do the serving and everything else, like pouring of wine, making sure his mother's glass is properly topped off as it needs to be, and bringing things over to her. So
Naturally, as she's probably used to, but she does appreciate it. It's another one of those signs of respects that her son is giving her that she's okay with. Like it's starting to, you can tell that her mood, despite the fact that she dislikes many things about this particular situation, that it's better now that she understands that you're not being as reckless with the funds as she thought because of a lack of paperwork, essentially.
Thank you, Ren.
But eventually, obviously, like the food stops, the wine stops, and the music still is happening downstairs. But eventually, you know, everybody's tummy is full, and maybe even the lizard folk retinue gets a small bite to eat, and everything looks a little bit better than initially that it came off to be at the beginning of the day.
Well, Dhakiir, oddly enough, actually ordered enough food that he wasn't going to finish, and he knew his mother probably wouldn't finish, so Lizard Retinue actually would have some scraps to pick up after they were done.
Whether or not they're knowledgeable of that, they are happy that they get to eat food. I don't think they would realize that you're kind of like looking out for them. But
that was not for that's because Dhakiir is doing it for them. He doesn't care if they know. He's just doing it because that's who he is.
there you go. Great.
So
You haven't
because, hey, you know what?
completely
They do a lot of
disappointed
work.
me.
They work with his mom all the time. He feels like they should be at least recognized a little bit, even though it's not proper for him to recognize them.
Yeah, you don't acknowledge the help.
You didn't acknowledge the help, but he's trying to at least toss something to the help.
I mean, they have to stay around her 24/7. You only have an occasional visit.
Yeah. So.
But as the night progresses and you all have your dinner and it kind of wraps up, you know, your mother walks up or rises from the table, and asks if you all will escort her back to the house.
Of course. It will be my pleasure.
This is turning out a little bit better than I expected, son. I really, really need you to stay on top of this, though, because this can help push the family closer to where we need to be in this world.
Of course, the family is the most important thing.
But it's not just money, it's the power, it's the recognition, it's everything involved with it. We can get money from anywhere. We can farm the aether from our island if we had to make that money, but what really holds true is that the name continues on. No one just respects the treasury for their money. They respect them because they offer jobs. They are reliable. They are accountable for everything. Even on the seas as we know it. They are a name that everyone knows of, and that is what we need to be.
He's just quietly nodding and acknowledging what she's saying.
Eventually, you all make it back to the Ministry District, and it's really kind of peaceful. Again, there's not many people that would want to interject with a snoo mommy that is 8 feet-ish tall, and with two lizard folk that are not equally as tall, but still very bulky. Regardless of their capabilities, they are visibly pretty intimidating. But eventually you do make it back to the house, and you can see that as you enter in, Nami has tried to make it even more hospitable to your mother's likings as much as possible. She does make mention to you that after you do enter, that she was able to secure a bed and more comfortable accommodations for your mother, considering you all didn't really have anything like that.
Yeah, and he will is like, very well done. He'll give her a good bow of appreciation, and you know, nod his head to her. And well, if you he's gonna he almost has Nami lead his mother to the room and decides he's going to do it himself, just because he thinks Nami's nerves are shattered enough. So he's just going to walk his mother to the room.
You would probably be correct. But it is a guest room, but the guest room has been transformed from last you saw it to be a little bit more opulent, to resemble your bed. It looks like if you didn't know any better, you would think you would see some price tags on some of this stuff as if it were just purchased, but you don't see anything like that. It's just all brand new. Everything is thoroughly dusted and taken care of. And it wasn't like this when you left the house this earlier today.
Yeah. She's been busting her butt, and he appreciates it.
Yes, absolutely.
Another reason for why he also was perfectly okay with taking the long route into the shitty part of town to go to the factory. It bought Nami more time.
It definitely did. But before she gets settled in for the night, she turns to Lore and Artemy after basically asking her son to come to her side, and basically expresses some gratitude and appreciation for not only your knowledge, Lore, but also your competency and ability to protect her son to Artemy.
Just kind of gives a graceful nod.
Okay.
May I ask how long you intend to stay in the city?
Well, if it turns out that I can get some information for the informant that I paid, not terribly long. I do love seeing family, but I do have business elsewhere as well.
The informant is why I ask, because in all of his dealings, time is a factor.
Well, I would say that I will be here all tonight and possibly tomorrow, and if we can definitely see if we can do that at some point in time within that time frame, I would be more receptive to that.
Very well.
And then she basically just says, well, for now, I would like to retire to my room. And if something comes up, obviously I will be here.
Lore bows respectfully and takes his leave. Until next time, Madam Cass.
And she nods, and then she ducks in the doorway to go into her room.
Rest well, mother. I'll see you in the morning. I'll bow and let the lizardmen, attend to her door and what have you as they will, and go in the other room to where Nami's office and desk are.
Yeah, the two lizard folk will be on the outside. And right now, we'll go ahead and end that, but we'll continue the next session with probably mom still being somewhat of a factor in the scenario, and then we won't really time skip too much because you still have your runner out basically trying to fetch Stinky.
Yep.
Yeah, that was Mom episode 1.
The fucking
She is terrifying. I
Oh,
love
boy.
it.
the trial by combat though, that was
Yeah.
fucking dope. Holy shit.
Well, I had the thought, I was like, Dhakiir's mom really I want that family to be very focused on money, but then again, I want them to not be pushovers, where it's like they're just merchants. I wanted her to be a little bit more substantial than that. So instead of being like, hey, I'm just gonna have you fight my fucking my honor guard, no, you're gonna fight this motherfucker. So it was just a small
First,
display.
I thought I was gonna throw hands with her.
Yeah, but interesting little twist, and at least it gives you. I like that it'll give Dhakiir at least a little bit more background and Serpent a little bit more to play with, and then obviously
I have already created the headcanon that every single one of my brothers and sisters are some sort of fighter or warrior class, or even like cleric, but so basically some sort of martially trained,
Yeah.
character class. And I am the one and only pure caster.
Yeah. No, your mom will definitely be able to handle herself too, even if she wasn't doing what she was doing. So yeah, that's the fun part about it. And then obviously Lore gets to literally like flesh out more of his business, and he got to do so a little bit tonight too.
Just lovely.
Oh, that was fun. Hopefully we
Yeah.
can get some fun little experimental arms into the hands of our eager investors. They're so eager.
Hey, they're sporting money for it, so yeah. But I figure next time we'll dive in a little bit more with
The business isn't murdering Tabaxi. It just that's like a side effect of the business.
Look. I'm sure if I'm not gonna say that. I'm just gonna say we at Stoneboard Mediworks are proud of our manufacturing process and how we handle our
Industrial waste.
handle our industrial side products.
it's not a bug, it's a feature.
Hey, listen,
Oh, God.
their oxygen quality might be a bit worse, but I don't know if Lore is personally responsible for poisoning the water.
I mean, I'm also pretty sure like we're not the only manufacturer of these.
Oh
right?
no, I've got
No.
competitors.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
there's competition out there.
This, the funny part is what would add to this fucking group if this group had a lawyer. Oh no.
We should get a lawyer.
You need like
Yes.
a fucking warlock lawyer or something.
Oh dear. I'll have to hire one.
That'd be funny as hell.
Get a bard lawyer, and he just has expertise in all of
Oh,
the
yeah.
fucking charisma skills.
There you go.
It's just Saul.
It's all good one, yeah. But obviously I knew that this was a little bit more RP heavy. Well, I mean, it's obviously revolving around Serpent or Dhakiir's family, but I like the fact that you guys can molder out it a lot, and we'll start doing a little bit more of this stuff, but also tying in some combat here and there too. But I appreciate you guys showing up.
Oh, it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
That was fantastic.
Thanks for running. That was dope.
Thank you so much. We got to be like a really cool background part of the Salus business life.
Yeah, and I think it's substantial because I think the goals that are kind of aligning here, at least between the family and the industry, should be pretty impactful to what's going on, because it's something that is obviously killing Tabaxi. It's having an impact on the
It
world.
is not proven that Tabaxi are dying due to manufacturing processes.
Listen, Your Honor, Freebird was playing.
Yes.
Freebird was playing.
All right. But yeah, I'll go ahead and end it for the night. But again, we'll get together. I think the next 2 weeks I'm going to be preoccupied, so maybe the week after I might be able to schedule some stuff. But I'll take a look at scheduling and I'll let you know, obviously.
Awesome.
Sounds good.
All right, thanks, guys. If you want to hang around, you're more than welcome to. I'm just going to put on mute for a few and then end stream.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, that was fun. It was fun playing a power snoo and lecturing Dhakiir for a little bit. But yeah, thank you all for stopping by. I really appreciate it. It's always super fun. I like developing this story with you all because it's not just like me telling one side of a story or trying to formulate whatever from a single point of view. Actually figure out your grand plan. No, you didn't, Rin. I just think it's fun and funny. But you did not figure out my grand plan. There's not anybody that has figured out my grand plan. There's a lot more behind the scenes that isn't being explored. I think maybe only a hand... listen, there's not a plan, but there's an end result, okay? So shut up. But no, I want to do more and more stuff. And you can notice that the idea behind, especially your two groups, between Winds and Voice, is I went with like a familial theme, oddly enough. Here for the ride. Good. But yeah, so I would think after, not this next week, not the week after, but maybe the week after that, we'll have some more games scheduled. I think that should be okay. But we'll take a look at the scheduling. If you're new and you want to follow, that would be awesome. We've got Discords for my personal Discord, which is whatever. And then you have the Book of Seorsum Discord below it, I believe. If you want to join it and see what all this mess is all about. You know, you don't have to play in any games. You could see, I think I still need to update some of the playlists, but the community there is pretty cool. We do some text RP from time to time. We also have all of our groups, 2 major groups right now, looking into maybe reforming a 3rd group in this particular world and getting some play on that way. But yeah. I would say that's probably the most up-to-date place to get that information, is that Discord, the Book of Seorsum Discord. And I plan on expanding it even more. It's just going to take some time and effort, but I appreciate all of you. Super cool. Super didn't even tell me his game was being streamed. Oh, well, he's a butthead. That's okay. I don't really advertise it too much either. But maybe I'll start letting people know in some way, shape, or form that these are streamed. But yeah, thank you for the follow, Great Cat. I appreciate it. I'm gonna go ahead and go. I'm gonna talk with the players for a little bit longer, and then I'm probably gonna hop off for the night. Thank you all again for stopping by. Thank you all for being awesome. And the next time we play, you all will know. I promise. Okay, bye.